Is this the best 4K of the year? Yes. Yes, it is. By miles. It's phenomenal. So you can either go now or listen to me just heap more praises on it. I'd rather you stick around. So yes, if you remember you are a subscriber and you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe, all that stuff. But if you are a long time subscriber of my channel, you would be aware that a few months back I flew over to Melbourne to meet the director of The Crow, I, Robot, and of course this amazing classic, underrated classic, and I got to meet Alex Proyas, who directed this fantastic film. And it was just so happened that on that day that the 4K was announced to be coming soon, and I was able to congratulate him on that achievement. And this film, oh my gosh, you know, when I first saw this, it was on video. I rented it from the video store. It was VHS. I had wanted to see it at the cinema, but it wasn't in for very long. So I had to wait for the video. But when I finally did, gosh, yeah. So I went out and I bought the VHS. I then bought the DVD. If you're aware, the early versions of Dark City were studio influenced, and unfortunately, you know, studio influence doesn't really compare to what the artist's vision really is, and this is one film that suffered from that, mainly because they were sort of trying to look at the marketability of this film, whereas it was more of an artist's film. And I love the visual style, I love the pacing, I love the acting, I love everything about this film. I love Jennifer Connelly as well. So, you know, extra bonuses for that. And so when the director's cut finally got released, I think it was because of his, because of iRobot and everything, finally, you know, the wheels had turned and we were able to get this Dark City director's cut, which I bought while I was in America when I was visiting there. And I just love this film so much. It hugely influenced me. It came out at a time where I was just starting to learn graphic design. I was looking at, you know, visuals and cues, and just really just wanting to learn so much. And this film really, really did heavily influence me, as I told Alex Proyas on the day that I met him. It influenced me so much that, you know, I ended up doing a bit of I used some of what I'd learned in actual my design concepts from Dark City, and he was really happy about that. So anyway, about this 4K, there's a bit of a backstory. So I started to watch this on my PS5, which has been always my go-to for 4K stuff. So when I was watching this, I thought, I know that this has a fantastic soundtrack, and I could not figure out why it wasn't, the subwoofer wasn't going, everything wasn't going, and it was just stereo. And I could not for the life of me figure it out what was going on. And sometimes I get movies that work, and sometimes I don't. This is one that didn't work for me to be translated through the PlayStation. And it absolutely just pissed me off. So I thought, I have to remedy this. I have a Dolby Atmos sound system and everything, and PlayStation, there's just been something always a little bit off with the PlayStation Blu-ray 4K. Just a little bit something. I don't know what, but I thought, am I really getting the best at a 4K with this player? Because in a way I'm being cheap because I use it for gaming and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So I actually bought myself a new 4K player. And here it is. This is the Panasonic UB450. It is sort of like a mid-tier 4K player, which is fine by me. I'm not going massively tier. I did that with my sound system, which I may have gone overboard with, but this has Dolby Vision, and it has been well worth it for this 4K, and just to watch this film in the best it can be is just it's been a well worth purchase. So if you do have you using a game system, I stopped using the Xbox Series X a long time ago. That's really bad, that one. But the PlayStation is okay, but I would go for just a dedicated player like this. Now that I've seen the differences, it's night and day. It's night and day. So this movie has made me upgrade. That's how good this film is. But it's an amazing player, and I really suggest, if you want to see these sort of films, I suggest you get a dedicated player. Dark City came out at a time that really influenced me visually, and I put it into my work. I really freaking did. So in my illustration work and everything, it just, yeah. So anyway, Dark City holds something dear to me. I understood the film. It really irked me that they had a studio influence, and that everything's explained in the first 5 minutes if you watch the original cut of the film. You really need to see the director's cut to get the most of this film. There's actually I think a few trims in there too, but I didn't actually watch the original to compare because it is inferior to the director's cut by far. But this 4K for the director's cut is just magnifique. It's just if you don't know the film itself, so Dark City stars Rufus Sewell, Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt, and quite a few Australian actors. I think some New Zealanders too, but we won't mention them. Yeah, so it's just so good. And I feel that, it's just not getting, it doesn't get the love that it deserves. If you don't know the story is about John Murdoch. And John Murdoch is wakes up one day in a bathtub, and there is a dead woman in the room, and he has amnesia, so he doesn't know who he is. And so he goes on a search to discover who he is. And on the way, he meets his wife, played by the beautiful Jennifer Connelly. Can I do a whole thing about Jennifer Connelly? I have to at some stage. So Jennifer Connelly plays a jazz singer. She sings in a club. She wears amazing dresses, especially a green dress. And unfortunately not low cut enough. But yeah, And then, of course, you have William Hurt, who plays Detective Bumstead, who is on the trail of John Murdoch because he seems to be this serial killer around the city. And strangely, the city is always dark. There's never any sun, and that actually becomes part of the plot. There's a reason why there's no sun. And if you're like me, a big science fiction fan, you just get drawn into the story. There's lots of turns and just plot turns, and just it keeps you entranced. It really does. As for this, I mean, of course, Alex Proyas has had a lot to do with this. He even does. There is. Look, I know I'm really, really hard on documentaries and that, but this hour-long documentary is how you do a documentary and is well worth just the price alone. You learn a lot more about the film that that initially was released. They were able to look back and say what worked, what didn't, and they are quite candid. And I like that. It's good to have subject matter on the film rather than on the documentary maker or something like that, which just really, as you well know, irked me, especially with the Quatermass. But this has to go down as like in 2023. Poltergeist looked amazing to me, and that was on an LCD screen, that PS5 again, and it looked amazing. I can't wait to go back and watch Poltergeist again on this new 4K player with the new television and just see how that pops. But outstanding work from Arrow. Just this is not a sponsored video in any way. And I'm only learning now that a lot of film aficionados and 4K and that like this film also. I'm so glad that it's finally getting the love it really, really deserves. And, one of the things I really like about this film is the designs of the villains. There are villains in this. I won't spoil anything, but they're sort of like Men in Black, and even the visual effects last, which is surprising because I've seen other films that used a lot of early CGI. This was really early CGI. This is even before the Matrix, and they look pixelated. They look awful. This looks fantastic. I could not find anything wrong with the computer graphics with this. The CGI looked fantastic. It really suited the film. It didn't look out of place. There's a lot of real, tangible props in this too. So the backgrounds, there's I don't really want to spoil it if you've never seen the film. Maybe at one stage I'll get into the Dark City a little bit more. But you have to experience the film to really, really understand it and see it maybe multiple times. This is the sort of film that you watch multiple times to really understand it. And even then, you're still asking questions. And I love it. It's brilliant. So that's all I pretty much have to say on this. This is like my, for now anyway. This now is like 2025, the best 4K I have ever seen. And I'm not saying that mildly. So, if you like my content, please remember to like and subscribe. It really, really does. I'm up to 236 subscribers now. Thank you all so much. It really, really does cockle my shells. It really does. Thank you so much. I hope to do more videos soon, Please let me know what you would like me to talk about, what you'd like me to see, and all that sort of stuff. But for now, I just want this to be about Dark City. It's been in my top 5 for the longest time. I love it. I'm so glad that there was no issues with it. It is finding an audience. It's been finding an audience for the last nearly 30 years. But I'm so glad that this renewed 4K will hopefully bring another audience to this film that I love so much. So, with that, who am I? I'm Matt Pott. Sleep. See you next time.